Uncovering the power of behavior, how diet shaped primate evolution. For decades, scientists have debated whether changes in behavior drive physical evolution or if it's the other way around. But what if the answer 颠覆了我们对人类进化最基本的认知? A groundbreaking study has just revealed that early primates, including our own human ancestors, began eating grasses millions of years before their bodies evolved the tools to properly digest them. This discovery not only challenges long-held assumptions, but also shines a spotlight on a powerful yet often overlooked force in evolution: behavioral change as the catalyst for anatomical transformation. This new insight comes from the work of Luke Fannin and his research team, who used cutting-edge techniques to peer into the dietary habits of ancient primates. What they found challenges the traditional view that physical changes must come first. Instead, their findings support a concept known as behavioral drive, the idea that shifts in behavior can actively push evolution in new directions. Behavioral drive isn't a new idea, but it's always been difficult to prove. Most paleontologists rely on bones and teeth to infer what ancient animals did, which creates a circular problem. How do you tell if behavior came before the body changed, when the body is your only evidence? That's where this study stands out. By focusing on a specific dietary shift, early primates beginning to eat grasses, the team found a way to tease behavior apart from anatomy. Here's the twist that most people miss. These primates didn't have the usual physical traits we associate with grass-eating animals. Think high-crowned teeth or complex molars for grinding tough vegetation. Yet, isotopic analysis of their fossilized tooth enamel reveals they were already munching on grasses. How? Stable carbon isotopes can tell scientists whether an animal was eating C3 plants, like trees and shrubs, or C4 plants, like tropical grasses. And the evidence is clear. These primates were consuming grasses long before their teeth caught up. What's even more intriguing is the timeline. The switch to a grass-based diet, or graminivory, began around 700,000 years before the appearance of dental features typically linked to grass processing. This significant gap suggests that behavior wasn't just a side effect of physical evolution, it was steering it. And this is the part that might raise eyebrows. Could behavior be more influential in evolution than we've been giving it credit for? But here's where it gets controversial. The study also shows that early human relatives, like the stem species of Paranthropus and Homo, were incredibly flexible in their diets. They didn't commit to one food source, but instead adapted their eating habits based on what was available. That kind of behavioral plasticity might have been the foundation on which later evolutionary changes were built. In other words, being adaptable may have given our ancestors a major survival edge. The research goes a step further by showing that the evolutionary path leading to the dietary niche of early Homo around 2.3 million years ago was heavily influenced by behavioral factors. Before they developed specialized physical traits, these early humans thrived by being dietary generalists. Their ability to eat a wide range of foods could have helped them survive in unstable environments, a key trait in human evolution that seems to have deep roots. This study also introduces a new way of approaching evolutionary questions. Instead of only looking at bones and assuming behavior based on anatomy, scientists can now directly detect dietary behavior through chemical signatures in fossil teeth. This powerful combination of isotopic analysis and detailed morphological study gives researchers a clearer picture of the sequence of evolutionary events. So what does this mean for the bigger picture of evolution? It suggests that behavioral shifts, like new foraging strategies or habitat use, could be major drivers of physical change across many species, not just primates. Traditional models often assume that physical traits evolve slowly over time and behavior follows. But if behavior can lead the charge, it could speed up evolutionary change and even influence when and how new species arise. The implications go beyond just diet. If behavior can shape anatomy, it might also influence other aspects of evolution, including brain development and cognitive abilities. After all, Adapting to new environments and resources likely required smarter decision-making and social cooperation. Could behavioral flexibility have laid the groundwork for the development of human intelligence? This research also highlights the importance of taking a multidisciplinary approach. By bringing together paleoecology, geochemistry, and evolutionary theory, scientists can uncover richer, more nuanced stories about how our ancestors lived and evolved. And that's exactly what this study delivers: a clearer, more dynamic view of how behavior shaped the human story. So, what do you think? Should behavior be given more credit in evolutionary theory? Or is physical adaptation still the main driver of change? The evidence is shifting, and it's up to us to keep asking the right questions. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this is a conversation that's only just beginning. Prehistoric humans ate tubers 700,000 years before their teeth could handle it. Imagine having to survive on a diet that your body wasn't designed for, a diet that required you to improvise and find creative solutions just to stay alive. This is exactly what our prehistoric ancestors faced around 2.3 million years ago, when they suddenly switched from eating grassy plants to consuming carbohydrate-rich tubers, bulbs, and corms. But here's where it gets fascinating. They made this drastic change without having the necessary dental hardware to break down the tough fibers in these subterranean treats. By analyzing the carbon and oxygen isotopes in the fossilized teeth of prehistoric humans, researchers have been able to reconstruct this pivotal moment in our evolution. What they found was that it took a staggering 700,000 years for our ancestors, molars, to catch up with their new culinary behaviors. This lag between behavioral and morphological change challenges the conventional wisdom that these two processes evolve in lockstep. As study author Luc Fanon notes, behavior could be a force of evolution in its own right, with major repercussions for the morphological and dietary trajectory of hominins. In other words, our ancestors' decision to start eating tubers and other underground storage organs drove the subsequent evolution of their teeth and digestive system. But what prompted this sudden shift in diet? The researchers believe that cognitive advances enabled our distant ancestors to adopt a new diet based on readily available, nutrient-rich foods that circumvented the need for dangerous hunting expeditions. This signal moment in our evolution created a glut of carbs that were perennial. Our ancestors could access them at any time of year to feed themselves and other people. However, this new diet came with its own set of challenges. Early Homo species lacked the dental hardware required to break down the tough fibers in tubers, bulbs, and corms. It wasn't until 1.6 million years ago that human molars evolved into a form more suitable for chewing these subterranean treats, some 700,000 years after we began relying on them. So, how did our ancestors manage to survive on a diet that their bodies weren't designed for? The answer lies in their flexibility, creativity, and adaptability. According to the researchers, this ability to improvise and find solutions at this early juncture in our history may have paved the way for our more recent evolutionary success. As study author Nathaniel Dominy notes, the ability to exploit underground grass tissues may be our secret sauce. This ability to adapt to new environments and exploit new resources has been a hallmark of human evolution. Even today, our global economy turns on a few species of grass: rice, wheat, corn, and barley. The implications of this study are profound. It suggests that our ancestors' decision to start eating tubers and other underground storage organs was a turning point in our evolution, one that set us on a path towards becoming the dominant species on the planet. But it also raises questions about the long-term consequences of our dietary choices. As we continue to evolve and adapt to new environments, what will be the next signal moment in our evolution? Will we continue to thrive on a diet that is increasingly reliant on processed and manufactured foods, or will we need to adapt to new sources of nutrition? The answer to this question remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: our ability to improvise and find creative solutions will be crucial to our continued success as a species. The carbs that made us human, uncovering the secret to our evolution. Imagine this: The very thing that set our ancestors apart from other primates wasn't their strength or speed, but a surprising craving for carbohydrates. Yes, you read that right. A new study reveals that early humans started feasting on tough grasses and starchy underground plants, long before their teeth evolved to handle them. This discovery flips the script on how we think about human evolution. But here's where it gets controversial. What if our survival wasn't just about adapting physically, but about outsmarting our limitations through behavior? And this is the part most people miss. Our ancestors didn't wait for perfect tools or bodies. They forged ahead with what they had. Sound risky? Let's dive into the science behind this bold claim. Led by researchers at Dartmouth, the study analyzed fossilized hominin teeth using carbon and oxygen isotopes. These chemical fingerprints act like a dietary diary, revealing what ancient humans ate. The results were eye-opening. Hominins were chomping on graminoids, grass-like plants such as sedges and bamboo, as far back as 4.8 million years ago. Yet their teeth? Still tiny and inefficient for such a diet. It wasn't until 700,000 years later that evolution finally caught up, giving rise to longer molars capable of crushing fibrous plants. This 700,000-year lag between behavior and biology is unprecedented in evolutionary science. Luke Fannin, the study's lead author, explains, this flexibility was their superpower. We've always assumed evolution works in lockstep, behaviors and body changes happening at the same time. But here, behavior drove evolution. Hominins didn't wait for perfect teeth. They adapted their habits first, and their bodies eventually followed. Think of it as a hack for survival. But how did they pull it off? The answer might lie underground. Around 2.3 million years ago, the isotopic signatures in hominin teeth shifted dramatically. The team proposes that early humans discovered a goldmine of carbs, tubers, bulbs, and corns. These starchy treasures, stored in oxygen-depleted soil to avoid herbivore predators, became a game-changer. Why? They were calorie-dense, available year-round, and far safer to dig up than chase game. With stone tools in hand, hominins could access this hidden larder with minimal competition. Nathaniel Dominy, the study's senior author, highlights the implications. We've been asking for decades what made hominins unique. This shows it wasn't just brains or tools, it was our ability to exploit resources others overlooked. Consider this. Today's global economy still revolves around grasses like wool and rice. Our ancestors' carb obsession wasn't just a dietary choice, it was a blueprint for dominance, yet the study leaves room for debate. For example, what caused the sudden shift in isotopic ratios 2.3 million years ago? The researchers offer three theories. Hominins drank more water than other savanna animals, adopted a hippo-like aquatic lifestyle, or switched to underground carbs. The last option fits best with known evidence, but what if there's another explanation? Could climate shifts or social behaviors play a role? Dominy challenges us. We're used to seeing evolution as a slow grind. What if some changes happened faster than we think, driven not by genes, but by cleverness? So, what does this mean for us today? If our ancestors thrived on carbs, does that justify modern diets rich in grains and starches? Or is there a cautionary tale here about how quickly we can exploit resources and whether those same resources can sustain us forever? The study doesn't answer these questions, but it invites us to think bigger. Evolution isn't just about survival, it's about adaptation. And sometimes, the most successful species are the ones that dare to dig where others won't. What do you think? Was our carb-driven past a stroke of genius or a risky gamble? Share your thoughts below.